You're listening to Last Word Radio, where you get the last word.
Welcome to the Fourth Line Podcast, part of the Alberta Podcast Network, powered by ATB. This is July the 22nd, 2019. With you today is myself, Carl, and the always wonderful Nick.
Hi, Carl.
How's it going?
I'm good. I'm nice and refreshed. I was at the cottage all weekend.
Well, that's nice. I am the opposite of refreshed. I moved all weekend.
Yeah, we had very different weekends, you and I.
You cannot tell because I've hidden them all. But this is a new view behind you.
It is very new.
Yeah. So
whereas before you were storing everything on shelves, now you're storing everything in a closet.
It's nice, yeah. I'll put shelving up there eventually. But you can see I've got my jerseys behind me.
Yeah.
It's actually quite one thing that's nice. I worked at a company that had the company colors of orange and blue.
Okay.
And so you may see something back there that is the New York Islanders' third jersey.
Oh, wait, which third?
Not the fisherman's friend.
Oh, okay.
But or the Captain Highliner.
Okay.
But it is the blue and orange with a company logo and my name on it. So that's always a nice.
That's pretty neat.
Appropriation of NHL colors.
Yeah. And it's nice to be talking hockey today.
It is. Yeah, we've got news.
There's a lot to talk about today.
We may not get to our Triple H segment.
Which means you all get to let me sing the Triple H intro music, which is okay.
We could still end the show with that.
Just the song as a tease for next week?
Yeah, a nice tease, as they say. Do you do any fishing or...
I didn't do any fishing. We did do a lot of swimming in the lake because it was nearly 40 degrees Celsius here.
Oof.
But I mostly just laid out in the sun. I've covered all my skin because I don't think it could take any more light. It is very hot, and it's going to be a little bit painful over the next couple of days.
Yeah, I noticed you're wearing. It is still presumably quite warm, and you were wearing a full sweater tonight.
Yeah, it's a little breezy tonight, but I had to throw the sweater on.
Well, we will get to all of this. We got some trades, we got some GM news, but Nick, I want to start with something that is very upsetting to me.
Upsetting? Carl, what happened?
Literally now I haven't read the full, I'm pretty upset just because I know the history of this.
Oh boy.
As we sat down to record, I got an email. This email was titled, it had a link. It was just, it's always good when you get an email and it's just a link. You usually don't open those. I did. It was from, title was City and CSEC and Calgary Stampede agreed to create new event center.
That was the subject line of the email?
Subject line of the email, Flames Insider Event Center Update.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. That was the title of the article when I clicked the link. Because when I get those emails, I click that link.
And who did this email come from?
It was from the Calgary Flames.
So the Calgary Flames sent an email that just says event space update, and the body of the email is just a link to the article?
Yeah. And I did know that today there was a closed door meeting between a group from City Council and the Flames regarding a new arena.
Okay.
So here we go.
Oh boy. Okay.
The estimated cost of the event center was previously $550 million. It is still $550 million.
Okay.
The city of Calgary will be paying half the price of this new arena.
Oh, 50%, eh?
Nick, why do cities think that this is a good idea? There's zero reason this is a good idea. There is no way that they should be in any way footing the bill for these jokers to have a new arena.
Who's getting the revenues?
Well, let me tell you, Nick. If I zoom in on this way too small infographic that they clearly want me to skip over. Projected return to Calgarians. So they'll be spending $275 million. But don't worry, Nick. they project a return of $400 million.
They project that return to the city?
Yeah, but over 35 years. So don't worry, this new arena will bring the city approximately $10 million a season. It's pretty lucrative at this point in time.
Oh boy. So you're not happy about this?
No. How do you feel about city tax dollars going towards public arenas? Or private arenas, right? Like this is an arena that is going to have like some kickbacks and some things, but it's like they're getting $19 million in retail property taxes. They're spending money in community engagement. They're getting $2.5 million from naming rights. I'm like, this is not going to make you money. This is not $275 million is not what's going to come back in any way, shape, or form. And the fact that they think that building this so that the Flames can have a new arena is in any way a good idea is idiotic.
I tend to agree. I hate when they use public funding for private spaces like that, especially when the teams are the ones who collect most of the revenue. It makes no sense to me why they should be using public dollars for it.
Yeah. So it is, according to this again, way too small infographic they've given me. It's going to be 100% owned by the city. So they're spending $275 million. They own it, and they're still only making $10 million a season.
So, but how does that work then? Do they lease it out to the team?
They must be leasing it for free to the team,
right?
During the course of this, right? So the team's essentially leasing it. The team's half is the $275 million. That's their payment.
So aside from the monetary recompense that the city may or may not get, what are some of the other benefits for the city in putting a new arena in? Like,
there's going to be some more concerts they could get that they've been leasing out to Edmonton.
So they'll bring in some more concerts. I think there's I don't know how you measure it, but the entertainment value that the team brings to the population.
But how much, on a monetary basis, how much of what you pay for a ticket, what percentage of a ticket comes down to the quality of the stadium? Because it, to me, is very low. It's that was a cool stadium. And, I was in San Jose this season. I was in Vegas this season. Nice stadiums, nice arenas. But I also went to a game in Calgary, and it was just as good of a game and an experience.
Well, is it increased capacity? To the Saddle Dome? Because if it's 5,000 more people, or 5,000 more seats, and that's 5,000 more people who can go to the...
It says nothing. Oh, up to 19,000. And I believe this has... The current Saddle Dome can fit 18,000. So...
Oh, that's big for an old arena like that.
Yeah.
18,000.
I'm pretty sure. I'll double check.
Interesting. Because I think there are some... I don't know if intangible is the right word, but other kind of abstract, immeasurable benefits.
There's currently 19,289. So it is the exact same capacity.
Wow. That's a huge capacity for an old arena like that.
Yeah.
Because the Saddle Dome was built, what, in the 80s?
83. Yeah. They built it for the Olympics in 88.
Yeah. Wow. And are they tearing down the Saddle Dome?
That would be the plan, because they're going to still be building it on the Stampede grounds.
Oh, they are. It's going to stay on the Stampede grounds.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Part of this, they've been doing a revitalization of the area, and so we'll see how that changes. I'm always skeptical. They've been doing the East Village revitalization for a while, and it's great over there. But how much more are you going to get? I don't.
Yeah, and it's not then they're adding another ice rink to create more space for rec leagues or minor leagues or anything.
There is, they're it's going to cost us this much money. there is an asterisk included that says may include a second smaller arena. Not sure how that's a thing that you can just be like, hey, we might just like find extra money for a second arena.
Yeah,
What kind of amateur hour is this? That we're like, yeah,
maybe
there might be a second arena. We don't know.
That's
there is like currently the Corral, which is where the Flames played when they first went to Calgary, is being torn down as part of a expansion of the convention center that's right across from the Saddle Dome.
Interesting. Well, maybe you'll get a second ice pad. Who knows?
We might get a second arena. We might. You never know. You never know. They don't give what this is. There's a facility fee of $155 million. I don't know what that means. There's a lot of things that they're just not telling us, which is always a good way to build trust with the community.
Yeah, no kidding. But it is pretty infuriating as a taxpayer to see your dollars go into something like this that you're not going to see any tangible benefits for.
Now, they do say that it will not be increasing taxes. They're just taking it from their like capital expenditures fund, which like you could be using that for other things.
Yeah.
But anyways.
Yeah. Does building the arena really benefit the community that much more than some of the other services they could be funding? I don't know.
Well, Nick, before we get into any more things, because we're going to get into the fact that now the Calgary Flames are going to be spending $275 million. The city of Calgary will be spending $275 million, all to see Milan Lucic lace him up for the Flames.
Heyo!
We will get to that. Before we get to any more, there's a lot of financial questions we have about this, but if you want your financial questions answered, head over to atb.com and they'll be able to help you out with those. They're the official sponsor of the Alberta Podcast Network. They're a great bank and they support hockey. They support hockey in Alberta and in the communities. Head on over there, atb.com. If you want a bank that doesn't keep you on the bench, ATB is a proud supporter of hockey across Alberta from grassroots to the pro. ATB helps teams across the province and countless volunteers as well that make hockey possible. So check that out, atb.com, atb.com/hockey. Now that I've got that off my chest, I don't even think I got it off my chest. I'm just more upset than I was at the start.
It wasn't as angry as I thought you were going to be. I was expecting a lot more ranty, but I think you're still kind of processing it because I can watch you reading it and it's washing over you in layers, I think.
There's a lot. It's going to come to about $300 million of city money that I just don't see why that's a thing that we need to be doing. But hey, what do I know?
Well, we'll check back in on that anger level throughout the show.
Yeah, we'll do that. I did find a high-res version of this infographic.
Priorities.
Yeah. And actually, it does look like this will not be completed by the time Milan Lucic's contract's done. So that's disappointing.
Wait, how much longer does this guy have left on his contract? I thought it was just infinite until he left us.
It might be. And maybe he falls in love with Calgary and stays. But the arena will not be finished until 2024. So.
Wowza.
Yeah. So they'll start in 2021. So we got at least another 5 seasons in the Saddle Dome.
Well, I mean, that's got to be a positive perspective, right? That Milan Lucic's contract will be over before they start playing there. That's one way to look at it for Flames fans. If you're not happy with the taxpayers' dollars, at least think we won't be paying Milan Lucic by then. So let's get into that. Well, if you're not happy with Milan Lucic, you got to think, were you happy with James Neal?
Well, so Milan Lucic to Calgary, James Neal to Edmonton. You seem, the comment that just there, I kind of envisioned you having an opinion that has me thinking the other way. Who do you think got the better end of this deal?
Edmonton.
Okay.
But the Flames, like, I'm not a Flames fan, but if I were, I wouldn't have been happy with the James Neal saga last year.
Right.
With the contract or the performance.
See, I was fine with the contract at first, right? Like 5 years, $5.75 million for a guy who, for the last, 12 seasons, to at least 10 seasons, possibly 12, has scored 20 goals a year. That is as consistent as they come. And now last year, 7 goals. Not as good.
It's rough.
Certainly, yeah. Every season he's been in the NHL, James Neal has scored 20 goals except for last year. I have to think that James Neal didn't suddenly become bad at hockey.
No? So do you have a theory?
I think that he got off to a slow start and the Flames gave up on him. They put him into bad situations. They had him playing, third, fourth pair minutes. His time on ice plummeted last season because of the performance, but outside of that, he's a guy that when you are playing winning hockey like the Flames are, you give the opportunities to work his way out of it because he has shown for that long. You just spent $25 million, over $25 million on this guy, $28 million on James Neal. And for you to just be like, yeah, you know what, we were wrong. That's an indictment on you.
Yeah, I agree. But I also think that when you're a winning team like they were last year and winning more and better than they expected to, you give the opportunities to the guys who are scoring and helping you win the games. You don't want to stifle that confidence either.
I can get behind that for sure.
So I don't know. It became very clear last year that this was not going to work.
Here's the thing though, James Neal shot over 10% every season of his career. He shot 5% last season. That is absurdly low.
Yeah.
There's nothing that says to me James Neal suddenly went, there's no trend that shows that he's getting worse, that all of a sudden he can't hit the net. Shooting percentages were up last year as goalie equipment got bigger. And all of a sudden James Neal has the worst shooting percentage on the Flames and it's not close.
Yeah. There's certainly some bad luck there, I think. And like you said, he wasn't getting the deployment that he probably deserved or the ice time that he probably deserved. I do agree that season is a flash in the pan, but I also wonder if that is it's damaging, I think, to the team and to the player, to the coach and to the player and to his teammates. There's that tension there now that exists.
Well, it's gone now.
Well, it's gone now.
Yeah. They fixed it. So we both agree Edmonton got the better side of this deal. And it's not, I would say it's probably not simply just because of your love for Ken Holland.
No, but I did tell Oilers fans when they hired him, the guy makes good trades.
He did. And he did.
And he made a good trade.
He also has one of the greatest quotes I've ever seen from a general manager.
What did he say? I completely missed it.
Here's what he had to say. I'm trying to find the quote he had here. All right. So for some reason, he starts talking about the NHL guide and record book. We're going to ignore that. He says, I look down the middle at what we have with McDavid, Draisaitl, and Nugent Hopkins. And 2 of those players can trade offense, create scoring opportunities for their wingers. He listed 3 guys, Nick. McDavid, Draisaitl, and Nugent Hopkins. And 2 of these players can do those things. That's some quality shade. That's real good.
But there's no indication on which 2 he meant? He didn't say?
He does not get into that.
Fantastic.
I feel like we know which one it is. It's the one that's been playing on McDavid's wing.
Yeah, 100%. That's amazing.
Yeah, that was good.
Ken Holland, good at trades. Won this trade.
Yeah. Likewise, the conditions on the pick that are going back also have to do with the fact that James Neal just scores 20 goals. And so the condition is that he scores 21 goals and Milan Lucic scores 10 less than him.
This guy will be able to get 21 goals as soon as they put him on McDavid's wing.
Even if they don't, put him on the second line. If he shoots, even on the Flames last year, with the reduced minutes that he had, with the changed role, You put him there, you have him shoot his career average of 10%, and he has 14 goals last season with missing about 20 games.
Yeah.
Like he's a 20 goal scorer. He's going to do it.
Yeah. But so look at the Flames perspective. Why Milan Lucic?
Well, we know down here in Southern Alberta, we like to play a certain brand of hockey, Nick.
Okay.
Hard, it's physical, and it doesn't win a lot of games these days.
Yeah. And they thought they needed 4 more years of that.
They said, you know what we need? We need Milan Lucic on this team.
Oh God.
So $6 million per year. The Oilers are retaining some of it. That's nice of them. So it's not, like you said, it's not costing the Flames all that. Only the mere, it was like 5.25 for them. So, yeah, that's, I have zero idea why the Flames would do this, other than the fact that they're like, we've burned this James Neal bridge so badly that we need out from under it.
Yeah.
What's the only way we can do it? They technically save $500,000 in this trade. And
yeah, but who cares?
I don't know if this is true. It might just be a hangover from the Oilers days, but it does list him on Cap Friendly as the assistant captain too. That would be a fun choice.
Wait, who? Let's who?
Milan Lucic as the assistant captain of the Calgary Flames.
Oh my God. There's no way. That must just be like a carryover.
Please make that happen.
Because if that's the case, they have 4 assistant captains.
Yeah.
And 1 captain.
Yeah.
Oh my God. That can't be true. Was he an assistant captain on the Oilers?
Yeah.
Oh my God. That team was a mess.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe he is. Who knows? He's got that veteran presence now. Stanley Cup winner, Milan Lucic.
Oh, God. Oh, that's terrible. Here's a question. Do the Oilers and the Flames trade a lot? Have they historically?
Is this an answer you know?
No, I don't. But they're 2 hours down the road from one another, same division, pretty big rivals, trading pretty big pieces of their team.
Yeah, the last one
another
I can think of, and I could be wrong on this. I want to say Steve Staios was the last noticeable trade that happened between those two teams, and I could be wrong on that, but that's what I'm going to go with.
I haven't heard in a long time.
Yeah, you're welcome. This has been hardcore hockey history. Hit it, Nick.
That's all we get. Time to play the game. Save it for the end.
Thank you. He was traded to Calgary by Edmonton.
I always find it weird, these divisional teams trading players, like Toronto and Ottawa too.
Or when Thomas Plekanec ended up finished his career in Toronto. That was a fun time.
That was a fun time. He did nothing there.
No. I mean, he was a real nice fourth liner for a couple games. Yeah, I do find it interesting that they would help each other out like that. It seems like both of these teams, especially Calgary, I just don't get what there does have to be something else there to me, because there's no reason in my brain or the brain of anyone else other than Jim or Brad Treliving, maybe his dad too, who knows, Brad Treliving, of why you would do this trade.
Right? A third round pick's not enough.
No, and $500,000 is not enough.
No. So there's got to be something else there. I'm sure James Neal had asked for a trade at the end of last year, or maybe in the middle of last year. Who knows?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think he has any trade protection or had any trade protection.
According to the Cap Friendly, he does not.
Doesn't look like it.
So he had to trade him quickly.
Yeah, but he probably did not want to play for them anymore.
I mean, even if you look and be well, James Neal only had 7 goals. Milan Lucic only had 6.
Oh, yeah, I know. And he's not gonna get better.
He's peaked.
He's peaked for sure. For sure he's peaked.
Anyway.
So this is bad for the Flames. I'm a little sad Lucic didn't end up in Vancouver, because I think that would have been funny. But does this also mean that the Flames receive his no move clause?
Yeah, I would assume so. Because like if he waives it, he would have to waive it again.
Yeah, that is true. So he already waived it. So that means they have to protect him through expansion too.
Oh my goodness. Well, that's why they made him the captain, because he's going to be there a while.
I mean, it's the only no move clause they have on their roster. So that's okay.
Yeah.
But it's kind of funny that the only forced protection they have is going to be James Neal.
Milan Lucic.
I don't know who we're talking about anymore.
They're giving him a no move clause. Good for him.
Sure. Yeah, Holland's already fixing the mistakes.
Yeah. Well, there was another trade this week, much more minor. Artem Anisimov traded to the Ottawa Senators for Zach Smith.
Yeah, I completely missed this one.
Yeah, that's because it's Artem Anisimov traded to the Ottawa Senators for Zach Smith.
For a second, when I first heard it, I was like, Zach Smith, is that a good player or not a good player? Like, I had to go online and actually look at his point totals because he's not somebody I really know at all.
Well, since you did the research, tell us. Zach Smith.
He's 30 years old now. Actually 31. He was drafted in the 3rd round. He shoots left, and he's a centerman.
Okay.
In 2018-19, he played in 70 games, scored 9 goals, and added 19 assists. So a total of 28 points. His career high came 2 years ago, 32 points. He scored 25 goals once in 2015-16 at the age of 27. And since then hasn't cracked the 20-goal mark and didn't crack it before then either.
So much like every NHLer, he peaked at 27.
Yep.
That is, from what I understand, 27, 28 is like peak performance. The Ottawa Senators handed him a $3.25 million contract. Now he's a Chicago Blackhawk.
Yep. Sounds about right. I'm not sure why Chicago wanted that, but
Chicago's making some very interesting choice. I mean, like, they're always kind of making like fringe tweak moves to fit everything under the cap. The Alex Nylander trade, this trade, like, Anisimov a fine centerman.
I thought so.
Yeah, like, sure, you're not getting excited about him, but like, and that's more money than they should pay for a third line center, but he's good.
He scored 9 more points than Zach Smith last year.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he's a better player, right?
Oh, yeah.
Objectively speaking, just unbiased, I think he is the better player in this trade.
Yeah. Yeah. Does it literally just come down to Chicago's cap crunch? Is that what this deal is, in the same way that Teravainen's a Hurricane because of cap crunch?
Well, yeah, I think that could be part of it. I mean, I think but wait, do they not have very similar cap hits?
So Anisimov is 4.5 and Zach Smith is 3.25. So it's about $1.3 million that the Hawks save.
On the cap.
On the cap, yeah.
But there's something funky with the salaries too. Yes. In that Anisimov is owed less actual money than Zach Smith.
So it's $7 million owed to Anisimov the next 2 seasons, and 6.5. But it's much less cap hit. So the cap hit's a lot less. It's essentially the same money for much different cap hits.
Yeah. I mean, to me, it just seems like a bit of a cap dump for the Blackhawks.
Yeah.
I was going to say the Flames for some reason. My head's all over the place tonight.
That's allowed.
So yeah, I don't know.
Confusing to have actual hockey things to talk about. I was expecting to be talking about a lot. You know, they're dumping arena news on us minutes before the show hits. There's a lot happening.
My brain hasn't had to organize this much hockey information in weeks.
Yeah, you're having to research who an actual player. Like, this is not okay.
I was not expecting this when I was cooking out in the sun this weekend.
I was promised easy summer hockey podcast.
Yeah, what is this? So yeah, anyways, My official super intelligent analysis is that I think the Senators won this trade.
Agreed. Which is weird to say. It's a weird thing to say. We've got a general manager hired. We now have a 32nd general manager in the National Hockey League. Ronald Francis.
Yep.
GM of Seattle.
What's your take on it?
I don't like it.
I was a little disappointed too. When I read it, my initial feeling was like, "Ah, man, that kind of sucks."
Him?
I don't know. I think I was hoping for Seattle to not dip into that old hockey boys group. I was kind of hoping for someone newer, fresher.
Kyle Dubas got to have a brother out there or something. I know his grandma's on Twitter. Maybe hire her.
Hire her. Oh, imagine that. She'd just make too many favorable trades for him, and we need to stop doing favors for the Maple Leafs.
That's true, yeah. Nana Dubas is a real pushover when it comes to trades.
Only with her grandson, though.
Yeah, well.
And maybe his friend in Arizona.
Are they friends?
I don't know, but I could just see the grandma being so like, oh, these young men, they try so hard.
Trying their best. Yeah, that's how she would be when it came to contract negotiations, too.
Yeah.
Like, you're so nice. Like, you brought me treats. Yeah, it would not go well.
Here, son, have a hard candy.
Yeah. Yeah. I found unpacking, I found my bowl of hard candies. That's nice. I got the dish from my grandmother. It was a wedding gift.
Hey.
Yeah.
There you go. Maybe your grandma should run the Seattle, whatever their names are.
I mean, my grandma at least has good taste in, like, she knows very little about hockey, but she knows she doesn't like Brad Marchand, and that's enough for me.
You know what? It's enough. That should be enough for everybody.
Yeah. Yeah. Brad Marchand's grandma goes to the same church as her. Not okay.
Love the politics.
My favorite hockey feud. Like, sure, we almost had a Brian Burke, Kevin Lowe fight in a barn, but my grandma versus Brad Marchand's is peak.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So yeah, Ron, that was, I don't know, that was just my hope. Someone with a fresh perspective, different way of looking at things.
Well, and like Ron Francis he had a big role in Carolina for a long time. And while a lot of what this team is right now certainly has his fingerprints all over it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And yet he's not there, right? Like he's not the guy who is getting them into the playoffs and taking them into that next step. Sure, he set them up, but like he still didn't have them with a goalie of any sort. He didn't have them set up in that regard. Sure, he can draft well, but yeah, there's still a lot of things that from his time in Carolina that I was like, yeah, that's okay, but it's not great.
Yeah, which tells me that, you know, his strengths are maybe more on the scouting, maybe on the development side, and less so on the, you know, managing an actual NHL roster.
Which is great if you are just looking at building a team in like the way that everyone thought Vegas would be.
Right.
Like if you assume that you're going to take the stereotypical expansion role and have to go in and scout and build a roster and scrape the bottom for a few years, having a guy with a great scouting background is perfect.
Yeah, agreed.
So, and yeah, but from the perspective of setting up that team, that's kind of where because you don't need scouting to look at who's going to be available. You'll know these guys, right? Sure, you'll have like pro level scouts who will do that for you.
Yeah, you should. And if his strength is more on the amateur side, which, you know, with the way he drafted and set up today's team for Carolina, it seems to be more on that amateur side. He'll probably need some help when it comes to expansion.
So we'll see who he hires. We'll see. You know, there's a lot more pieces that need to come into play there in Seattle, like a name of a team. That's something important.
That would be nice for the rest of us to talk about them.
There is some talks. I saw today that it's looking like totems might be something that they go with, that kind of angle.
The Seattle Totems, like a totem pole?
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
So because apparently they had a bunch of stuff, like old Seattle hockey merch. Because Seattle has like a pretty deep history in hockey.
Yeah.
And some of the stuff, so they had like some pictures and a stick and a picture of the Seattle Totems hockey team from back in the day at the Ron Francis event. So we'll see. Maybe that was a
interesting
hint. Maybe that was just wishful thinking of people wanting a deal to happen. So
Ron Francis expansion draft to repeat.
No, I think a lot learned one to not give out a bunch of clauses to help them out trades.
Yeah, I think that we're going to see very little of that in the next expansion draft.
Okay, sure. There are a few that I look back on and I'm like, okay, that was unnecessary, right? Like the biggest one is the William Karlsson.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Florida.
Yeah.
I forget who they gave. They gave up
Marchessault.
And like another piece as well.
Yeah, was it Riley Smith maybe?
That's the one, Riley Smith, yeah. So like those two stand out to me, but the rest of the league didn't really, like it wasn't that offensive, I don't think.
No, I don't. Not that I can remember.
But we'll see.
I don't know. The expansion draft's always interesting. We can tackle that content when we get there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Which will be a couple of years from now. We'll spend that summer. Will just be all expansion draft all the time.
We're gonna need something to talk about.
Yeah, it'll be slow. Jacob Trouba got a contract with the New York Rangers.
He did.
So finally, at least one restricted free agent signed. That's all we want. It's just some chips to fall, please.
Yeah, you got a big boy contract too.
He did. He got 7 years, $8 million per, which to me seems fair.
I think so. I think it's a good contract for him.
He's going to be 25 years old. That'll take him through the heart of his career, make great money, and it'll serve him well.
I think he's earned it at this point. I mean, if you're looking at last season's stats, he would have been third on the Rangers in points.
Not even like defensive points, just
third on the total team in points. He had, I think, I have it up here, 50 points. So he would have been their highest scoring defenseman by a large margin.
Yeah. Well, he's no Kevin Shattenkirk.
No. There's only one Kevin Shattenkirk, Carl.
Yeah, unfortunately. So New York Rangers in a bit of a pickle because they're currently over the cap.
Which they're allowed to be right now.
You are allowed to be. They do still have to hand out contracts to a few more people. And I'm not aware of anyone that they're going to just like claim to be injured this season. So the question asks, can they? I know there's been lots of talk of them trying to move Chris Kreider. He has a no trade clause, so he does have a say in that. But is he the piece that moves? Can they like pay someone to take the $1.9 million they're paying Matt Bolesky? What happens to get the Rangers under the cap?
I mean, if you move Chris Kreider, it solves your problem. So I think that's probably the piece they try to move. I don't think it should be that hard to move. I guess it depends what 11 teams he asks not to be traded to. But, 1 year of Chris Kreider shouldn't be that hard to convince somebody to take.
Again, if it's at the point that you're having to convince someone to take him, I would take him 1 year at that money for free on the Avalanche.
Yeah.
I would not be sad giving up an asset for Chris Kreider.
Yeah. So, but he's probably, I think, the easiest piece to move. They've got some pretty, I'm looking down the lineup. This Brendan Smith contract is awful. And they have 2 more years of that. So that might be one, because I know they've already waived him. So that might be one they just bury in the minors.
That would get them under as well.
And that would get them under.
Yep. Well, we will see. Still more than 2 months of this before the season gets underway. So lots.
Yeah. And they need to be under by what? The first game of the season or something?
I think the day before, something like that.
The day before.
October to do that.
Yeah.
See where they end up.
They have done this rebuilding thing amazingly, though.
Oh, as good as anyone could have hoped for.
It's unbelievable how fast they turn this whole thing around.
Yeah. But I do hope, I mean, I don't have any reason to hate the Rangers. I just hope that it works for them at this point now.
Yeah.
Like, I want them to be like, look what we did. And then everyone could celebrate. Except for Islanders fans. They're bitter.
Islanders fans will always be bitter.
Yeah, that's fine. We'll let them.
Of course.
Well, should we get to a truncated, likely, potentially, version of hardcore hockey history?
Yes. Truncated? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Truncated. Little Triple H. It's all about the game and how you play it. All about control, if you could take it. That was his intro music in WWE.
There it is.
Might still be.
Who knows? So this week is something that could end us up down a rabbit hole that every week since the main part of hockey's ended, we were like, you know what? We're going to get this show in under an hour. This is one that if we let it could take us, we could be here for another hour or two.
Yeah.
Where we go. So we're going to try to control ourselves, but there are some very interesting connections we have here. We are doing, we're going through a trade tree tonight, folks. We're going down all the branches of what I would say is it's the biggest trade in NHL history, is it not?
Yeah, I think so. It's definitely one of them.
Yeah. I mean, like you've got Phil Kessel, Taylor Hall, and Wayne Gretzky are everyone's three trades that will forever be remembered.
Well, I think two of those suffer from recency bias.
I mean, there's nothing recency biased about Phil Kessel going to Arizona. I don't know what you're talking about.
Good point.
Yeah, we're going through the Wayne Gretzky trade, which, yeah, definitely one of the biggest trades in league history. Him going from the Los Angeles Kings to not
other way around.
Not the Los Angeles and St. Louis trade. That's not the one we're talking about. We're talking about Edmonton to LA.
Yeah.
Wayne Gretzky. So, to start, Wayne Gretzky, Mike Krushelnyski,
yeah.
Where's he from? That's what this trade tree. We're going to go through the entire tree and just guess where people are from.
Mike Krushelnyski? Where's he from? Oh, man. His first name's Mike. This is a curveball.
Yeah.
I'm going to say he is Canadian.
Yeah. Can you guess what part of Canada he is born?
I'm going to say he was born in Toronto.
It is Montreal, as we all would have assumed. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That very French name must have come from Montreal.
Yeah. Anyways, Gretzky, Crush, and Marty McSorley headed to Edmonton for Jimmy Carson, Martin Gelinas, 3 first-round picks, and the main reason of the trade, $15 million.
It's a lot of money for a player in 1988.
Yeah, so a lot of this episode is actually us tracing this money. This is the trade tree. We're just going to figure out where that money went and what it got spent on.
I like it.
Yeah.
It's kind of fun.
I don't have the answers to that question.
Oh, you don't?
Oh, I wish I did.
I thought we were going to do some sort of like forensic files, like follow the money.
Like I said, I wish we could.
Who knows how the Oilers spent that money?
Terribly. But
yeah, it's gone.
Because it gets very interesting very quickly. So we'll start with Jimmy Carson. He's a player that went to Edmonton the other way. He was coming off fantastic seasons. He had, at 19 years old, had 107 points for the Kings. The next year, 100 points in his debut season with the Oilers. At 20 years old, you're like, man, this Jimmy Carson kid is going to be great. That was the end of him being great. That That was his peak. After that, his best season was 73 points. He was traded. He played 84 games with the Oilers, was then traded to the Detroit Red Wings.
Oh.
Do you recall this trade at all?
I don't.
Okay. Well, he was traded with Kevin McClelland and a fifth rounder for Peter Klima, Joe Murphy, Adam Graves, and Jeff Sharples.
Okay. Now that rings some bells.
Okay. Here's another one that's going to start to ring some more bells because he was then traded after having a mediocre season. I mean, halfway through his next best season, he was traded to LA for a player that, will become more well known. And when we get into this branch, it could be interesting or will be interesting of how he ends up there. So going back to Detroit for him, Paul Coffey, Sylvain Couturier, and Jim Hiller. So if you're wondering how Paul Coffey started making the rounds, 1993, Paul Coffey ended up in Detroit, traded for Jimmy Carson.
Wait, Paul Coffey was in LA?
Yes.
So at some point, the Oilers traded him to LA as well.
He ended up in Pittsburgh, and Pittsburgh moved him on to LA.
Oh.
So he was traded for Craig Simpson, Dave Hanna, Mo Mantha. Relation to Anthony Mantha?
Probably.
Must be.
They are a hockey family.
And Chris, don't call me Curtis Joseph. So that's how he ended up in Pittsburgh. He was traded for a first-round pick and a couple other guys to end up in LA, and then from LA to Detroit.
Huh. That I did not know that, Carl. You enlightened me tonight.
Yeah, and that is how the Detroit Red Wings got Paul Coffey.
Yeah, I remember him playing for them a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, 3 seasons.
But Jimmy Carson is a name I don't think I've heard before, or at least I don't remember him.
Yeah, well, and was not good after that. He was after he was in that season where he was traded to LA. He played a total of quick math 108 games in the NHL. After that, he was done.
Oh.
Again after.
Rough. Well, at least the Oilers got a 100-point season out of him.
He real early. And that was the core prospect. He was the second overall draft pick by the LA Kings. Started great, and a career that really did not become what anyone hoped for, especially him.
But at the time, I guess, if you're trading for Gretzky, you expect some high-end, high draft picks going back. And I guess at the time, that's what he was. Like, he would have been one of their top prospects, top players.
He was as good as he could be. He was third in Calder voting his 18-year-old season in LA. Lost out to some guy you may have heard of, went by the name of Luc Robitaille.
I have heard of him.
That was quite the rookie pairing, Robitaille and Carson there.
No kidding. Robitaille also played for the Red Wings.
Yeah, that's this is the Red Wings trade tree now. So we've got Jimmy Carson.
Okay.
He brought Paul Coffey into this, which again brings a whole nother slew of things. Which one do you want to go down next? Martin Gelinas also went to Edmonton.
Yeah.
Another player that ended up in Calgary.
That's right.
And actually, I do not believe he was for a significant portion of time worked with a team. However, Nick, and this is where I just get a big smile on my face, because do you know who was traded for Martin Gelinas?
To the Oilers?
This was down the road. He essentially was not a whole lot of anything with the Oilers.
Okay.
But he was traded for my favorite Buffalo Sabre, Jeff Sanderson.
So here's where it comes full circle.
This is, you know what? There's only so much hockey history to get into before, we're all 6 degrees from Jeff Sanderson, is what we're learning.
The hockey history lesson, 3 weeks in the making.
It's a slow burn, but we made it. This episode brought to you by Jeff Sanderson.
Oh, Jeff Sanderson and Frederick Shabbat are summer sponsors.
Yes, exactly. I'm sure that they are thrilled to be mentioned repeatedly on this show. You're welcome. So he was actually waived. That's how bad Martin Gelinas was. He was traded to Quebec and then put on waivers by Quebec, claimed by Vancouver, and then traded to Carolina for Sean Burke, Jeff Sanderson, and somebody else. Enrique Ciccone. Where's he from?
Oh, boy. I don't know. Enrique Ciccone?
Yeah.
I'm going to say he's American.
He's also from Montreal.
Come on.
Yeah, I'm serious.
I guess I can see it. It makes more sense than Mike Krushelnyski.
Yeah. This whole trade tree also is from Montreal. There's not a single trade in this tree that does not include a player from Montreal.
Except for Wayne Gretzky.
No, but there's a player in that trade from Montreal.
Oh, just a Montreal player within the trades.
Yeah, within the trade.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Every trade has to have someone.
Yeah.
Now, Marty McSorley, he went with Wayne to LA.
Yes.
And I think we all know what we know him best for.
Was that not one of Wayne's conditions?
Yes. Yeah, he wanted McSorley with him.
Interesting.
Yeah. And so he obviously was in some suspension troubles.
Of course.
He ended up having a long career moving around. He also ended up in Pittsburgh. He was traded, shockingly. Here's what's interesting. So he was traded, and again, this will bring it back in, but we now get Jari Kurri in this trade tree.
Okay.
Because Jari Kurri ended up in LA as well.
Yeah.
He was traded with Jari Kurri to the Rangers after going to Pittsburgh and then back to LA.
These guys traded so much back in those days.
It was a fun time. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's almost like the salary cap stifles creativity.
Almost like that, especially the hard cap.
Yeah. It's almost like a hard cap's a terrible idea. Good, get rid of it. Which brings us to the Jari Kurri trade. Do you recall anything about his deal to LA?
No.
So first off, he was traded from Edmonton to Philadelphia.
Yes. I did not know that.
Okay. No, that he was traded for.
He went to Philadelphia.
He went to Philadelphia for, I guess it was a three-way trade.
Okay.
The way that I read this, both those trades happened on the same day. So it was a three-way trade. So 1991, what was great was this got future St. Louis Blues Stanley Cup winning coach Craig Berube in Edmonton.
Okay.
And him in LA. So that's how Craig Berube made his rounds, and now we've got another Stanley Cup winner in this mix, Craig Berube.
Interesting.
And so he ended up there, and now you've got the gang back together in LA, right? You're like, man, we've got Jari Kurri, we've got Wayne. Things are going to be good. They were fine. 1991, 92, there was a lot of great things that happened down there with that team.
Yep.
Finished second in the division, lost in the playoffs that season.
Rough, but I guess kind of had to happen.
Yeah, the next season was I would say infamous. Would you say the series, the 92 series between the Leafs and the Kings? And I only know it as infamous because I know of it and I was not alive enough to care at that point in time.
I live with a Leafs fan, so yes, it is 100% an infamous.
Okay.
End to a series.
Yes. So that happened in the following season, still with Jari on the team and Wayne and Marty. So a lot of that core of that team was there. They lost that next season to Montreal. The last time a Canadian team won a Stanley Cup.
Yeah, that was in the finals. And actually, Wayne Gretzky, I think, says that win against Toronto, that overtime win, is the best game he's ever played.
Yeah, I would believe it. Absolutely.
So,
and so we've gone there. Needless to say, we could literally spend hours going down this. The one that I want to look at is, again, how do you feel? And this is more of a thought. How do you feel? So there were 3 first-round picks in that trade.
yes.
When you're looking back on these, right? This is 31 years later. Do you look back on it and evaluate the player picked with that, or no?
I don't think it's fair to, but I think it's fun to.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Absolutely. Well, and because little did the Oilers know that, well, I guess, yeah, they didn't. Because they got the trade happened in 88. They got picks in 89, 91, and 93.
Yeah.
1993 pick obviously came on the heels of some good Kings teams, 91 as well. 91 is the only player of great note. Martin Rushinsky. Another player, not from Montreal, but played in Montreal. So there's that.
Well, they've all been to Montreal at some point.
I mean, haven't we all?
Haven't we all?
But a good player as well. With a trade tree that included being in the Patrick Waugh trade.
Cool. From the Waugh trade from Montreal to
Colorado? Yeah. So because he went from he was drafted by Edmonton, then traded to Quebec for Ron Tugnutt. And then
that's a good hockey name.
Yeah. And then was traded in the trade. So he went to Montreal with Andrei Kovalenko and Jocelyn Thibault for Patrick Waugh and Mike Keane.
There you go. We managed to work the Avalanche into this trade tree too.
We've now had a Detroit Red Wings trade. We've had an Avalanche trade. We've had multiple players from Montreal, both the team and the city. I'm happy.
I finally just found an image for the Wayne Gretzky trade tree. This thing is insane.
Is it big?
It's massive. Is this not what you've been working off of?
No, I have literally been working my way through Hockey Reference.
Oh, Carl. I'm so sorry.
No, I did not want someone else to do the work for me, is why. I've been wanting this all to be organic. I literally clicked and opened the Wayne Gretzky Hockey Reference page, then clicked on Jimmy Carson, who was the first player listed in the trade to the Oilers, saw he was traded for Paul Coffey, and said, cool, that's where I'll start.
Well, it worked.
It did. It got us somewhere.
It got us somewhere. But this visual is unbelievable. I'll send it to you so you can have a look.
We'll put it up on the social medias.
It goes right down to Sergei Samsonov. But somehow Milan Lucic is in here.
Actually? So James Neal is now in the trade tree.
Marty. Yeah, I don't understand it. I'm going to have to look at it a little closer.
Okay. Well, that was we'll put it out there. You can dive deeper. There's a lot.
Yeah.
A lot going on.
It was a brief hockey history, but really interesting to see the waves. It's like a butterfly effect for hockey.
Yeah, and there's nothing like it today. Even
no,
like in scope, right?
No.
Like it would be the same as if right now the Edmonton Oilers traded Connor McDavid because they were broke.
Yeah,
and the return they would get would somehow be worse probably than what Wayne got.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the end of the I mean, the Oilers still beat the Kings, so they weren't that terrible after he left, but
they never won a cup again.
No, that's the curse of the Wayne.
It's the curse of the Wayne. It's too bad he told Messi he wouldn't do that.
No. Gotta hand it to him, I guess. Well, Nick, I'm going to let you go and try to survive this sunburn you have. I'm going to go dive deeper into this trade tree. We will put that up. Maybe maybe it'll be in the episode description. Maybe it'll be on the socials. Look for that, or just Google it. Wayne Gretzky trade tree.
Yeah.
But it was
Google Images,
and you can see it is. I love nothing more than just like a random deep dive. I got into one this week. Someone said they made a comparison between Jesse Puljärvi and Olli Jokinen as Finnish players drafted in the top 5.
Yeah.
And so I had to figure out, well, who else got drafted in the top 5 as a Finn? Turns out before Jesse Puljärvi, like nobody. It was like him, Patrick Laine, Olli Jokinen. That was about it. Like, and the recent years, there's a ton of them, but no one in Finn. Anyways, so I just spent a good 20 minutes looking at where Finns have been drafted.
Yeah. The Finnish hockey program really went through a bit of a renaissance the last 10 years, and now feels like every year there's a Finn being taken in the top 5.
Yeah, before it was all just Canadians and Swedes at the top of the draft, and now and I always wondered, why isn't Finland good? In the same way that we now wonder why Norway isn't good. Like, you're Scandinavian. These are the things I assume. I mean, it's probably entirely correct. I'm sorry to our Norwegian listeners, but...
Do we have any?
Dozen.
Literally dozens of them.
No, just 1 dozen. Not even a baker's dozen. 12.
Well, shout out to our Norwegian fans.
Mm-hmm. Shout out to Seat Giant, one of the supporters of the Alberta Podcast Network, and a great place to go and get tickets. You can use this at sporting events all across North America. So if you're looking to go to a baseball game this summer and you're like, I want a game to tonight's ticket to tonight's game, head on over to Seat Giant to find that out. If you're heading down, maybe you're heading to Seattle to go watch the Blue Jays in late August, you could do that. Or you're just looking to score some tickets for hockey this coming season, head to seatgiant.ca, use promo code APN, and save 5%. There is not a coincidence, Nick, that the amount that you save is directly correlated to James Neal's shooting percentage this season. I will be asking if you can get it changed to his shooting percentage with the Oilers.
Okay. And how are you feeling about this arena thing at this point?
You know what? I'd forgotten. So thanks, Nick. You really let this trade tree really take me away from my troubles. And it dragged me back.
Nothing like good hockey talk to take your mind off things.
Yeah, great. Now I've got to go drown my sorrows in a different trade tree. Where are you at, Eric Lindros? Where are you at?
There you go. Have fun with that.
Well, we got head to fourthlinepodcast.com at fourthlinepodcast. I found in moving this week, I found another mini stick. I kept one for myself. I found another one. I have an idea on how we're going to give it away. I'm thinking, Nick, let me know what your thoughts on this. I'm thinking, guess that mystery player.
Ooh, I like it. That's fun.
We'll be doing, I have an idea on a player. I want your thoughts on it, and we'll talk about it off the line.
Okay, that sounds good.
We'll fire that up this week. Guess that mystery player. We'll give out a hint a day. You get one guess per day on who that player may be. First person to guess right, we'll send you this mini stick.
You definitely got to get rid of it. There's no space for it in your new place.
I do not want this in my house. I have one, and I can't find my coaster, so I've been using good news. Fourth Line Podcast puck also duplicate as coasters if you cannot find your Fourth Line Podcast coaster. So we've got you covered. We'll be back next week, perhaps. I'm on vacation, so we'll see. Maybe we're not back next week. But in 2 weeks, we'll at least be back. And until then...
It's all about the game and how you play it. All about control. And if you take it, all about your debt. If you can pay it, it's all about the pain. Who's gonna make it?